Hello everyone, welcome to part 4 of Stray Gods. I'm super hyped. I've said that like at the start of every episode, and it's true. I have been thoroughly enjoying this game. As I stated in the very first episode, I love musicals, I love visual novels, and this game has been doing great at both of them, frankly. We're going to pick up by... We're going to Medusa's lair next, but I'm going to talk to Freddy. I thought these talk options were going to end the day, and maybe they still will. I should go confront Medusa, talk to Freddy. Let's go talk to Freddy. I think I can just go talk to them, which is my hope.
Hey, so what's the news, Miss Muse?
Miss Muse?
Well, does a muse have a proper form of address? I just want to hear what exciting adventures you've been having.
Well, I stopped the goddess of love from killing herself, I guess?
Oh yes, also that's what we did last time.
Whoa. Do gods have interventions? You know, they're nothing like I thought they would be. Everything else okay, though? Do we know who the killer is yet?
Not just yet, no.
Okay, well, let me know if there's anything I can do. If I have to hustle to become your high priestess, well, so be it.
My only complaint about this game, everything is so good. It's a good visual novel so far. It's a very fun, entertaining musical. There are multiple songs that I've just been smiling all the way through. My only gripe with the game is the audio balancing is all over the place. My best guess, not knowing the behind-the-scenes process, my best guess is that all of these artists may be recorded in their own homes. Because all these, pretty much the entire cast are well-seasoned voice actors, and a lot of them have. It is not an uncommon practice, is what I'm trying to say. It is not an uncommon practice for voice actors these days to have a little home booth or home studio to record remotely. I'm guessing, to an extent, that is probably what happened with this game, and why the mixing feels a little all over the place. But, I don't know. We're gonna... It sounds so bad that I would, take a star off of this game. But it is something that every once in a while, it hits me and I'm like, oh, that takes me out of the moment there for a second. What do you know about
Exactly
gods?
how much do you know about the Greek gods, Freddy?
I know my Greek mythology, but what I've read clearly doesn't line up with who they are today, or who they ever were, maybe.
Still might be useful. There's gotta be some truth to those stories, right?
Maybe? Who do you want to hear about?
Ask about the idols.
Just how many of these gods are there? From what I've heard, lots of idols live around here.
Well, there are tons of minor gods in Greek mythology, hundreds even, depending on how you define them. Oddly, there's never any mention of the word idols in relation to them. Maybe it's like how people worshipped idols?
I sort of assumed it was related to the eidolon.
Which is a Greek word, but I think it means ghost. An image of someone after they die.
Makes sense.
Me? I'm more amazed at all the big names missing. Not just Zeus and Hades, most of the Olympians seem to be gone. Makes you think about what's been lost. But also, what might still be out there.
I wonder how much of those stories are true.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm giving you the quick version. There are reams of textbooks out there covering all this, but even they rarely agree with each other.
Really? Nothing definitive?
Ancient Greece was 3,000 years ago, Grace. Not much information survived all that time, if it was even valid to begin with.
What are Kaz and Brian up to?
I really
You
came
didn't
here
tell
because
them
I wanted
anything,
to
did you?
talk to
Oh,
Freddy,
I told
not
them you came
get a
home, that
lore
you're
dump,
okay,
you know?
but that you're having a moment. They send their love.
Should we tell them, do you think?
What for? They have their own problems. Plus, Brian can't keep a secret to save his life, and Kaz is officially homeless.
Is he still crashing on Brian's couch?
Grace, you do know that Brian doesn't have a couch, right? Just some giant beanbag things?
Then where is Kaz Oh.
Yeah, it's cute. They'll tell us when they're ready. But right now, it's best just to not mix them up in this.
Sorry about the
I
band.
should really apologize about the band. This kind of puts a dent in your plans, doesn't it?
You're right, Grace. How dare you sabotage my dreams? I am so mad I could spit.
You know what I mean. Nobody could have seen this coming, sure, but it's always been something with me.
Well, as I see it, there are two ways this goes down. One, neither of us gets back to the band. It was just a thing we did for a while before I founded a cult in your name. Or two, we get back to it and the band now has the Muse as its lead singer. Edge of Elysium becomes the coolest and most appropriate band name ever.
Ugh, I still really hate that name.
Look, Grace, you can't be the source of all the drama and name the band, okay? That's the rule.
Have they
You know
kept a
what I
secret?
find weird? That the idols have managed to remain completely secret all these years. Sure, they have magic and whatnot, but in all this time, nobody's found them out? Athena is that good?
Who says nobody has found them out? The way I see it, it's like UFOs.
Okay, I have to hear this.
Okay, so you could have real evidence that UFOs exist and that governments have covered it up and people still wouldn't believe it. Why? Because they'd get laughed at if they admitted it. Imagine the headline, Greek gods exist and are living among us. What website would even run that?
Weird conspiracy ones. Yeah, you're right.
All right, no more questions.
Okay, that's enough questions for now.
You sure? I can talk all day. You know I can.
I'll check back with you soon, Freddy. Time for more mystery solving.
Oh, I wanted a romance option. That's the only reason I came here. You could talk to more Persephone, but we're not. We're going to Medusa's lair. I appreciate that I have the option of getting more lore. But I want story, man. We're here for some story.
This must be the Viper's Nest. Scariest part of town, no sign. Just that one dude glaring at everyone. Well, I'm here now. Just another day in the life of an idol.
There you are. Man, this place is the worst. I think someone peed on me.
Freddy?
The
What are you
mace.
doing here?
What, you thought I wouldn't notice you skulking off? You didn't even bring any equipment, Grace.
Yeah, there's the romance option I'm looking for.
Freddy, please tell me you don't think you're some kind of adventurer.
I'm sorry. Are you not about to head into a monster's lair at great personal peril? What else would you call that?
You're such a dork. I adore you.
Ah, look at you. Two giggling school chums preparing to face the enemy together.
Oh, it's you.
It is me. How exciting, no?
Pan, what are you doing here?
I'm the one who told you about this place. You didn't expect my curiosity to get the better of me?
Feeling guilty? Tell me the truth.
Let me guess. You feel bad about how he left our last conversation.
Me? Feel bad?
Yeah. You know, the part where Grace is already lost and why not use her while you still can?
It's true. I am a bad man, and I spoke poorly.
And? That's it?
I'd hope even you, Freddy, could see that advice from an idol might be useful here.
I suppose.
Can she really turn people to stone?
Medusa is the one who turns people into stone just by looking at them, right?
People, yes. Idols, not so much. Or that's my assumption. I'll admit to not knowing if she's ever turned her gaze on one of us.
Great. Is there any way to make someone not a statue? If it turns out she can?
Short of Medusa dying? No. Not unless she wishes it.
Medusa works for Athena.
Asterion said Medusa
My
works for
number one
Athena.
suspect.
Is that right?
A truer description, I'd say, is that she's more Athena's servant. Poor thing can't survive on her own. So she's become whatever Athena needs. Spy master, enforcer, provider of garden statuary.
Assassin.
That doesn't sound fair.
It isn't. But keep in mind, Medusa is no helpless maiden. She is as clever as she is dangerous. And Athena knows it.
What's Medusa really like? We'll
If
just ask
you
the
have
advice.
any advice, Pan, I'm all ears.
Well, I assume you know how Medusa became what she is.
She used to be human, right? And then Athena cursed her. Pretty unfairly, too.
Now, however, Athena hasn't the power to undo her own curse. Or so she claims.
That's gotta suck.
Medusa isn't happy about it, no. Yet she survives because she must. As do we all.
Medusa's clever and works for Athena, but what's she really like?
She doesn't exactly come to the parties, Grace. Medusa is an enigma to most of us. If idols hide in the shadows, she lurks in even darker places. She's an outsider, and she loathes us as much as she needs us.
Is she dangerous?
Let's just say we're all rather relieved she stays away.
All
Okay,
right.
enough talking. Time to do this.
See, that's the spirit. Now there's simply the matter of getting you in before she's aware you're here.
You're gonna help her do that?
Why not? You're more apt to become a statue than to be any true help, my dear.
Knock it off, both of you. I have a plan for getting inside.
A word of advice before we proceed. Once you find Medusa, make the number a knockout.
Honestly, I thought we were just gonna march up to the door and be like, "I'm here to see Medusa." Find another entrance. Confront the enforcer. We are punk rock, and this is the most punk rock.
Oh, you're not just going to... Oh,
Sure is. Just watch.
Hi there.
Viper's Nest is closed. Private party.
I'm here for the party, or Medusa will see me.
Yeah, the private party is what I'm here for. Why else?
All the guests have arrived. Do you have an invitation?
Know who your mistress is? He's probably gonna be like, "Yeah, everyone does it."
Look, I know who the boss really is, and she'll want to speak with me. Isn't that invitation enough?
Go on in. I'll send word to the boss you've arrived.
Ooh, straight into it, huh? All right. The vibe is immediately immaculate.
What a long day, hiding in the light. Such a long day, dreaming of tonight. This sacred bite. Hello, who's that there? You've messed up my flow. Just get your drink, girl, and take your seat. It's the muse. There are sacred bites, and then there's this sacred bite. So wrong, so right.
Can we romance?
I'm really gonna hate myself
Bring it on.
tonight.
Right, let's play. I'm sure you can bite, okay. But you get a fight today. You're fighting Grace this time. And this time's mine. This time.
For centuries, these heroes got sent to me. Each one of them bent to me.
Not meant to be this time.
This time and all time.
This time's mine.
This time's mine. This time just
This
like
time.
every time.
It's mine.
Now look into me. You're
fight. We're a fighter.
What'd you say, Grace? You okay, Grace? Where's the game face this time? You are currently experiencing something I like to call the preparation. Any questions or comments? That's right, it is widely known that I can turn folks to stone. But oh, I won't this time. Because this time I find dine that oozy musy bloods my wine this time. Look into me. Oh, she's looking away. Hey, look
You flipped that hood.
me.
Then out came the snakes. You're so good. Finally, some stakes. Oh, the ice. What a difference
Ooh.
an actual monster makes.
I liked the switch up. I could resist.
Made you like this.
She was mad at me. So
Well, why was she mad?
she said I'd been bad.
Had you been?
No. Now look into me.
That didn't go anywhere.
Oh, snakes alive! I've killed a few times, you see. I murdered Calliope. Say, would you like to be the murdery this time?
This time is fine.
Yes, then
I
fine.
just said fine. You're
This
trying to buy
time.
time. You're lost, little girl. No more Hail Marys. We both know the meal is you. The killer's me.
You don't know, you don't
I
know.
do know that you didn't.
Kill Calliope. So you know that it's true that I didn't do it.
No.
Yes, you do know, you know. Does that
Nah.
mean Athena knows?
No. Fine grace.
Tell her you that I'm what? Bait? Not the feature show. Come on, try. Let's go.
No. Not the bloody charms.
You think you can turn me to stone before I burn your snakes off? I'm betting you can't.
The lighter was my idea.
Nice timing on the arrival, you two.
Ugh, this place is bigger than I thought. And creepy.
I was glad to have Freddy to protect me.
You ready to talk?
Oh, fine. Fine. What exactly is it that you want, pretty muse?
Why were you at the relic?
You were at the reliquary the night Calliope was murdered. I want to know why.
Blast! This is why I didn't tell Lady Athena. I knew it would come back to haunt me. I only followed pretty Calliope to the reliquary. I never spoke to her, never even caught up to her. I swear it.
That's what Asterion told us, more or less.
But you were there that night.
Yes, yes, I admit it. Ugh, Lady Athena will have my head. She'll mount it on a pike. Whatever you might think of me, I had no part in the Muse's death. I did not even know she'd been attacked until I saw her fleeing.
Why were you
followed
following?
Calliope to the reliquary. Why were you shadowing her at all?
I am Lady Athena's spy master, yes. Calliope has been trouble from time to time.
So you were spying on her.
I keep watch over every idol who no longer lives in Olympus, but especially Calliope. When I realized she was headed to the reliquary that eve, I followed. I had a duty to Athena.
Did you ever find out why Calliope went there?
I was never close enough to ask. When I drew near to the reliquary, that is when I saw the muse fleeing. She was frightened, bloodied, dying.
A tasty snack for you to hunt down.
I gave chase, yes, but to discover the truth. I knew Lady Athena would wish to know.
That does make sense from your perspective.
I didn't learn the truth until later. And then it was far too late.
Asterion said he caught up with you out in the fog. Is that right?
I thought he was the one who had attacked her. He is a great beast of a creature.
Oh, that seems rather unlikely. The bull's as gentle as a lamb.
Yeah, pretty much that.
Yes, I only realized my mistake once I caught up to him, and by then the muse was gone.
And you never found her afterwards?
I thought she might flee to her pretty home, or to the sharp and prickly Persephone. She did neither.
Yeah, she came to see me. You haven't told Athena any of this?
Do I need to light things up again? 'Cause I'll do it.
Let's go, Freddy.
I told her Calliope was at the reliquary that night. I did not tell her I was also there.
Why not? Wouldn't Athena find out from Hecate anyway?
I was not thinking clearly. I panicked. Lady Athena barely tolerates my presence as it is. If she thought I was involved in any way, if she even suspected.
How can we believe
Why should we
you?
believe you? You did just try to eat me, remember?
I am telling you the truth.
Right, and not at all trying to cover your own ass.
You presented an opportunity. To taste the sweet, sweet blood of a hero once again. It's a problem. I've been working on it, I really have.
Oh, Medusa.
Well, what of you? The only reason I knew Calliope was going to the reliquary is because you informed me.
Well,
Speaking of covering one's ass.
it is true. But Grace, I can explain.
I'll bet you can. Let's put a pin in that for the moment, shall we?
I am a monster. It's true, I do not deny it. It's still, I did not kill the muse.
Okay.
Okay, let's say we believe you. For the moment.
Whatever you do, pretty muse, I beg you. Do not tell Athena of my indiscretion. Show mercy. I know what I am horrifies you. It horrifies me as well.
Why is she so quiet?
I cannot help what I am. I did not ask to be cursed like this.
Where? I'll think about it.
Indiscretion, huh? It's quite the word for it.
I cannot apologize for my hunger. I can only apologize that I am so very weak in the face of it.
I'll think about it.
I am a lost and cursed thing. No idol. If Lady Athena should learn the truth... I hope you find what you seek, pretty muse. And that we meet again someday. And sing a different song.
All right, Pan.
Okay, so that was fun. Grace, I'll meet you back at home.
Now, before you say anything,
You knew. Right from the start, you knew Calliope was there that night.
Well, yes. She asked for the key and I gave it to her, no questions asked. I never lied to you, Grace. I said I didn't know what became of Calliope at the reliquary, and I didn't. But I wanted to, so I nudged you in the right direction.
You sold out Calliope?
Why? Is there some reason you need to know what happened to Calliope?
Is that so strange? Don't we all desire justice?
You sent me to the reliquary because you wanted justice.
I am trying to help, Grace. In my way.
What do you mean, in my way? What way is that?
The way where I don't take all the blame.
What else will I discover, Pan? I'd rather learn it now than later.
I wish I could tell you, Grace. I truly do.
So I've felt for a while Pan is probably involved, but again, I don't think he is the murderer.
Oh, if it isn't, the lovely Grace?
You knew. Right from the start, you knew Calliope was there that night.
This is
Well.
awkward.
Yes. She asked for the key and I gave it to her, no questions asked.
Yeah, we just
I told you I didn't
had
know
that
what happened to
dialogue.
Calliope, and that's the truth. I did not. So I nudged you in the right direction.
What aren't you telling me? This is so weird.
So you were what? Just trying to be helpful? You still aren't telling me something.
What possible reason would I have to?
Tell me, right now.
Kick his ass, Grace.
Medusa learned that Calliope was going to the reliquary because I told her. Now, before you say anything, I had no idea of the fate awaiting our dear muse. And you yourself said Medusa was not responsible. I simply had to know if I'd inadvertently, rather innocently...
I don't believe you and you sold her out. Are the only two options. I don't like either of these. We need information.
Sold her out? She came to you for help, and you gave her whereabouts to the highest bidder.
I am trying to help, Grace. In my way.
What do you mean, in my way? What way is that?
We,
The way where I don't take all the blame.
this is so weird.
What else will I discover, Pan? I'd rather learn it now than later.
Are we gonna cut to black and
I
find
wish I
Pan in
could
the
tell you,
third
Grace.
location?
I truly do.
And we're leaving? It's literally just the same scene in a different backdrop? Alright, let's go talk to Persephone.
Back again so soon, Grace? You're practically a regular at the club.
Yeah, I just came from a chat with Medusa, and
You found her? Well, you're in one piece, so clearly my fears were unfounded.
nope, they were completely founded, actually. Maybe I better explain what happened.
I knew it. We never should have brought that monster to the New World. Athena is a fool to think Medusa can be controlled. You're fortunate to have made it out in one piece. It could have gone very poorly for you.
If only you had been there. No, I need Grace.
I
need
know,
Gra-
I know.
or
but
Freddie, I
let's
mean.
focus on the important part of the story.
Which is that if
Freacy.
you believe what she says, Medusa appears to be
Gretty.
exonerated.
And that brings us back to Pan.
I don't imagine you've confronted him yet.
I confronted
He
him
admitted to
twice.
selling out Calliope, but not to killing her. I don't know if I can believe him.
Nor I. Pan would do anything to save his own skin. Allow me some time to consider our next move. On a different matter, I've had time to do some thinking. After Aphrodite's party, we never really spoke about the Eidolon and Calliope's memories. No doubt you have many questions.
Apollo told me a little about it. He did say I should talk to you, though.
Did he now? Is there anything you'd like to ask?
Will I feel
When all
different?
these memories start to return, will I feel different?
First, you'll have dreams. Places you've never been, people you've never met. But unlike with normal dreams, these will linger. Then they will come while you're awake. Sudden flashes or snippets of déjà vu. And sometimes it will seem so real you'll swear you're hallucinating. If there's anything difficult about the process, is that it becomes hard to differentiate between your life and all these other lives you're now recalling.
It does sound confusing.
Confusing and often unpleasant, as not all the memories will be fond ones. But that will pass in time.
Will I remember my own life? Yeah, we'll
You
just
said it
continue on
becomes
this.
hard to differentiate your life from
this
the
train of
others.
thought.
How hard, exactly? It'll still be me, right?
Oh, how do I explain this? Grace, would you say that you are who you are because of your experiences? The things you've lived and done?
I guess so, sure.
Well, all the things Calliope has done, and those before her, will now be yours. They will feel like a part of your life as well. Thus, they can't help but shape you. The Grace that is now will be and will have done so much more. Fortunately, you don't have to deal with every memory. Each time the Eidolon passes on, the oldest memories fade, and that helps.
Is fading,
Wait,
yeah.
how is it good that old memories start to fade?
Think of how old we are, Grace. If all those memories returned to you with perfect clarity, they would destroy you.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean you've all forgotten so much?
Well, far more than we remember. The further I think back, the more it becomes a bit of a blur, actually. You'll recall important moments. Some will be mixed up with the stories mortals tell, and you won't be sure which is the memory and which is the story. An idol's memory is a series of islands in a dark ocean, and they become smaller and smaller as they recede into the horizon. It sounds dire, but you become accustomed to it. It just takes time, and now you have all the time in the world.
How many times have you died? Can I ask that?
We call it passing on. I've lost track of just how many times I've passed on my Eidolon. A dozen? It's happened less often in more recent eras.
And the one you told me about, the woman married to that gangster, she was the most recent?
I don't think of Chastity as a she. That was me, just as the one my husband blasted with a shotgun was also me. It was one of the few times I wasn't able to prepare my successor. We were friends, yes, but I didn't know what Persephone was, and I had no idea what I'd just become.
That must have been difficult.
It was more difficult taking over my dead husband's territory. Women weren't often mobsters in those days.
Were you really a gangster? I've heard it said, but it sounds...
Let me put it this way. I felt as if I'd been blessed by a dying woman who saved me from a prison of my own making. I didn't know what I was, but I was free. I felt more alive than I'd ever felt before, and strong enough to toss an ox 10 feet. Did I set out to become a mobster? Not exactly. My husband's friends thought I'd murdered him, however, so they came after me. And one thing led to another.
Oh, I see.
Athena found me just as my memories were starting to return. I wasn't permitted to continue doing something so noticeable, so I was carted off to Olympus. It's too bad, really. I was an excellent mobster.
Wait, you said that Persephone passed on her Eidolon as she lay dying. What if she had just died?
I feel like we kind of already
The
have the answer
Eidolon
to
will
this.
keep us alive for a time, even in the most horrific circumstances, in hopes that there's someone to pass it on to.
What if there isn't? What if Chastity had died before you were shot?
Well, then the line of Persephone would have ended then and there. Oh, there are some stories that say an Eidolon will go wandering, that it never really dies. And who knows if there's any truth to that. It's not exactly something we've had the opportunity to study. All we know is that many idols have left us forever. They've died, and that's how it happens.
It's a lot to consider. Assuming I'll even have time to worry about it, what with the trial coming.
Either the trial will end poorly, in which case all of this is moot, or it will end well, and you will have plenty of time to digest.
Yeah, thanks for the update.
I'm a realist, Grace. It's what I'm best at. Now then, unless you've something else to ask.
Tell me more.
Tell me more about Calliope. You and her were good friends, right?
We were.
And?
And if you had told me a decade ago that I would become close to one of the muses, I would have laughed in your face. I always considered them Apollo's creatures. Calliope, Cleo, and Talia. Vapid, frivolous gods who handed off their eidolon to any artist who took their fancy. Every time I met one of them, they were someone else. Apollo called them the Sisters of Beauty, no matter their gender. Can you imagine that? That's such a stupid name.
I never thought of that.
Why is...
Do idols change gender a lot?
Well, we tend to seek out successors like
Why did
ourselves.
Persephone
but
fade into
it
the background?
happens. With the muses, it happened frequently. Everywhere Apollo went, they surrounded him like a gaggle of ducklings, just like him to gather his own fans.
If you disliked the muses so much, how did you end up becoming friends with Calliope?
She sought me out. She'd become more and more unhappy on Olympus, so she decided to leave just as I had, long before. Calliope asked for my help, and I laughed in her face. Go ask one of your sycophant mortals, I told her. I mean, surely one of them has some threadbare couch you can sleep on.
Wow.
Typically, she was undeterred. She didn't just want a place to stay. She said she wanted to learn how to be truly independent from an idol who had mastered it. What can I say? I mean, I am a sucker for a well-timed compliment. I took her in. Apollo was furious. He and Calliope were barely speaking, but he was certain she'd come crawling back to Olympus. Oh, it made taking her in all the sweeter.
After you took Calliope in, that's when you became friends?
No, not right away. I wasn't looking for a friend. What I was looking for was an opening act in the club. Calliope entertained here for years, and then eventually turned from performing to attracting new acts. She was in her element. She and I, we warmed up to each other eventually. She was more capable than I expected, and I adored her furious rants.
Calliope didn't seem like the furious type when I met her. That's hard to picture.
Oh, then you didn't really meet her. She was an idealist, and nobody could ever quite live up to her standards for very long. Her brothers and sisters, least of all. The idols needed to change, she said. They were withering away in the shadows, diminished and unwilling to save their own skins. When I joined the chorus, she expected me to change everything, as if I could single-handedly override Athena. I was to be her champion, and together we would bring revolution to the idols. Well, I was yet another disappointment. She left the club, but I gave her a place to live. We were supposed to stay in touch, but you know how it went from there.
What happened to the other muses? You mentioned 2 others. Were they lost in the war?
One of them was, though not like you think. The day we were to leave on the ship, Talia simply never showed up.
Do you know what happened to her?
We never heard from her again. Apollo thrashed about in mourning, but Talia had been fading away for years. It wasn't a surprise to the rest of us.
What about the other muse? Cleo?
Died long before. A victim at the hands of a mortal man, when she no longer possessed the power to bedazzle him. As I understand it, he kept her in a cage as a pet until her eidolon shriveled up and perished. It was dead before she was.
Ugh, that's pretty dark.
Yes, well, we come by our wariness of mortals honestly, Grace.
Let's all right. Let's
I'd
ask
like
the
to
other
know a
idols.
little more about the idols.
Then we'll ask the
I
hot
am
button
one now,
question.
right?
What constitutes a little more in this instance?
Well, what are we? Where did we come from? If an idol is a soul that moves from person to person, it must have started somewhere, right?
Ah, the big question. To which the answer is, nobody knows. I remember the original Persephone only vaguely. Indeed, I'm not even certain she was the original. Was there something before her? How did she get her idol on? I couldn't tell you. Evidently, we wrote little down in those early days, or were forbidden to, and our memories only stretch back so far. Anything beyond that simply isn't.
How can I know where
Isn't
you're
it
from?
strange to not know where you come from? For all you know, the idols could be aliens.
Aliens? Grace, you watch too many movies.
Gods are okay, but aliens are just wacky fiction.
Fine, yes. It is strange. No, our earliest days aren't the only blanks in our memories, however. We have many. And the last was the day Zeus called us all together to tell us Rome had fallen and we should prepare for war. But did that war occur? I couldn't tell you. The last thing I remember after Rome was 1,000 years later, in the 16th century. I was in a different body, feeling as if no time at all had passed. Athena calls that period the gap. That's what it feels like. All of us experienced it, and not one of us knows why or how.
Maybe Calliope learned the truth
Gap, you
and was
mentioned.
silenced for it.
What was that like? Did you just wake up one day, or...
I wasn't asleep. I lived. I had lives. I passed on my eidolon. I may have known who I was and what I was, but perhaps I was completely unaware. All I know is that one day, Athena came to my nunnery, near Trieste, I think. The moment that I saw her, all the old memories came flooding back. My life during the gap was wiped away in an instant, and it never returned. If someone did that to us, they were powerful indeed.
What about Athena? I mean, she's the one who found you, right? She must have been aware.
Athena woke up on her own, or so she claims, and spent the next century rounding up those idols who remained. Zeus, however, was gone. What became of him, what happened in Rome, we've never pieced it together. It's troubling.
I guess we'll continue
Tell
lore
me
dumping.
more about the war. It seems to have had a huge effect on all of you.
That's putting it mildly.
From Aphrodite's song, I know Ares betrayed everyone. What did you do?
Honestly, after my mother was murdered, I barely remember.
Your mother?
Her name was Demeter. Not truly my mother, but an idol who had always cared for me since the early days. I thought we'd be together forever. Then Ares brought those filthy bastards down on us. Demeter was slain by bullets. By bullets. Until that day, I had believed we were untouchable.
Why did Ares do
Why
it?
would Ares do that? Did he get anything out of it in the end, or...
What he got was a final death. A few of us hunted him down and made sure he paid for his betrayal. He choked on his own blood. As for why he did it, who knows? He thought us a lost cause. He wanted glory. He wanted more than we had, living in secret. After that, I don't know. We went from hiding place to hiding place. I didn't even know what Hephaestus had done for us when I found myself on a boat. We might have been gods once, but after the war, we were just refugees, like so many others, fleeing to a distant land.
Was it hard for the idols to come to the New World? It's just a place like any other, isn't it?
Well, it wasn't the place that was
I feel like
hard,
all
it
this
was
is
the fear.
important, but I
We knew
do
we were
really want to just progress the
vulnerable.
story.
We knew mortals could
So I
and
apologize
would kill us.
that this section of the video is going to be just very
Suddenly,
slow.
There were rules.
Very
we
lore
had to
dump
be
heavy.
secret. We had to stay close together. We huddled in the shadows and quaked each time the mortals so much as breathed in our direction. We couldn't all live that way. Some of us drifted away, faded into the night without so much as an explanation. That's what's been the hard part. Our inevitable decline in a place where we don't belong. We can pass on our eidolons as often as we like, but it will never truly be home.
Tell me about Hades. It's our
Are you
last
willing
one.
to talk about Hades? If you don't want to, that's fine. I'm just...
Incredibly curious how I ended up murdering my husband.
Yes.
that, yeah.
You know, one might think that my hatred of Hades began when he kidnapped me and forced me to be his bride. But honestly, that wasn't it. I hated my brothers and sisters for letting it happen. But Hades himself terrified me. He had a presence. I mean, one that forever made him the most important man in the room. And me? Oh, I was nothing in comparison. When Hades began doting on me, trying to earn my favor, I swooned that he might deign to think of me that way. For centuries, I actually thought I was in love, that the kidnapping was the best thing that ever happened to me. It's funny how our perspectives change.
What changed?
If you got along with Hades for so long, what changed?
I did. I grew up. I was a trophy for Hades. A conquest that he expected to remain meek and unchanging forever. He went out of his way to keep me small. I slowly realized that, he'd always been that way. Manipulation and arrogance behind the handsome sneer. We battled for centuries. I hated him, and I told him so, but he refused to part with me. He declared that I was his and would stay in the underworld where I belonged.
And that's when you killed him?
That's when I killed him, yes. The first time one idol had ever murdered another. Thank you very much.
I'm guessing the other idols weren't thrilled with you killing
Suddenly loud again.
Hades.
Well, yeah, they didn't know what to do with me. And Athena was furious that the most powerful remaining idol had been lost. See, this was before the war and before all the new rules. The chorus had never once contemplated execution, but they certainly considered it then. In the end, they decided it was better to humiliate me. They ensured I did not benefit from Hades' murder, and stripped the throne I had wrested from his grasp.
Which you weren't happy about.
So who's running the underworld?
I asked them where they were all those years while I pleaded for help. I was held captive, and what was I expected to do? What, lie down and take it forever because Hades was more useful to them alive? No. I stopped doing what was expected of me the day I slit his throat. May he rot in Tartarus with the Titans for all eternity.
How did you go from ruling the underworld to opening a nightclub named after it?
I won it in a bet with Dionysus, god of merriment.
Okay, there has to be a story there.
Well, the story is that he was a fool, but a charming one with many patrons. They built him a nightclub as his personal playground. And it was a grand old time for Dionysus in the 1970s, I assure you. But he didn't know how to run a business. By the time disco was ready to die, so was his stupid club. So I offered to make it profitable. If I succeeded, he would turn ownership over to me. He accepted because, frankly, all he wanted to do was drink anyhow. I was successful. The club became mine, and I kicked Dionysus out for never paying his tab.
Sucks to be him.
Dionysus ever sobers up, he might decide to be sore about it, but so far, that hasn't happened.
All right.
What's the deal between you and Apollo? The way you two fight.
Don't worry,
I
gang.
told
We're
you
almost
how
through
he
this.
and the other idols stood by and let me rot with Hades, did I not?
It seems more personal than that.
Okay, there's an old saying that no one escapes the underworld. But that's not true. I did. Once. Not long after Hades kidnapped me. I was homesick. And I missed my mother. Charon took pity on me and allowed me across the Styx. And after that, Grace, I waded through darkness itself to get out of there. Hades chased after me relentlessly, but I evaded him, right up until I got to the very slopes of Olympus. And who do you suppose was the first idol I met?
Uh-oh.
Apollo stood there. I cried out to him, begging him not to let Hades take me, and yet Apollo did as he has always done. Absolutely nothing. Hades was thrilled. And I knew then and there I could never rely on my so-called family for anything. Ever again.
That's all I can think of for now. I'll see you around.
Oh yes, that's where I'll be. Around.
All right, a lot of lore. Oh, we can go back to our place. We're not, though. A lot of lore. The Gap, the Underworld. Who's running the Underworld now that Hades is gone and Persephone is not allowed to?
Oh, hi, Grace. I can just call you Grace, right?
That's my name. Where's Freddy?
She went out to get snacks. We were gonna watch TV while we waited, but, well, here you are.
Were you looking for me?
Waited. Were you looking for me?
All over, yeah. Athena sent me to find you, but it wasn't easy. Yeah, you must have been busy.
Yeah, because I stand trial soon.
Right. Right, that makes sense. Anyway, I guess Athena wants to talk? I can zip us over to Olympus anytime, if you're free.
Is this
So
what you do?
this is what you do? Ferry people around?
I'm the god of messengers, baby. Travelers, doorways, any kind of transition, really. The old Hermes said that the transition part made even more sense for me, which, you know, extra cool, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I can connect any two doorways anywhere, just like that. So it's super easy to take people wherever. I don't mind.
You
All
say
these are
it's
good
easy,
questions.
but do you like doing all these errands?
Huh. Yeah, I never thought about it. It's nice to have a purpose. Athena is super sweet, and she has a big, important job. Why wouldn't I want to help her out?
You can't be this nice. Are you for real?
Oh, well, the old Hermes used to say that a willingness to serve is more important than a willingness to be served.
You knew the old
You
Hermes?
mentioned the old Hermes a lot. You knew him?
Yeah, I was homeless for a while. It wasn't a great time, and he took me in. Everyone's on the same journey, he used to say. Only the roads are different. And then he went on his journey. Man, I still miss him every day.
Wait, isn't he still inside you? Aren't you kind of the same person now?
Not yet. It's only been a year. Maybe I'll feel him again one day. That'd be nice.
Do I have a choice about seeing Athena? I'm not in the habit of being at anyone's beck and call.
I mean, I guess you could say no, but I wouldn't. If Athena wants something, she's gonna get it eventually. She had that look in her eyes, like she really wants to talk to you.
She could always come here. Everyone else does.
Athena entered the mortal world? And now she doesn't do that ever. Can you imagine?
How does Athena manage never entering the mortal world?
She doesn't have to, I guess. Everyone brings her everything she needs. And that creepy owl of hers? Apollo says it's her eyes out in the world. It's everywhere. Watching.
So what, she just never leaves the building?
She'll go to the reliquary and places like that. Just never where mortals are. She wears a toga and calls cars iron horses.
She goes to the reliquary, does she?
I suppose there's no
Hermes?
point in putting it off. Do your thing. Take me to Olympus.
Okay. Oh, when you see Freddy, tell her I'm sorry I couldn't stick around for the movie. And mind if I say something?
Sure.
You've changed. I mean, from the person I met when I first came here. When, you know, you got it together really quick.
Thanks, I guess.
Hermes is all right. Choose your trait. Oh, are we picking a second? I think we're clever. I do like some of the charming options, but I think the ones I've been most inclined to go with, or wish I could have picked, are the clever options, because we're trying to solve a murder, right? We need to be clever.
There you are, Grace. Do have a seat.
Are we in Act 3 now?
I prefer to stand, thanks.
As you like. You've certainly been busy, haven't you? Everywhere I turn, there you are. Including the reliquary.
Oh.
I'm uncertain how you got access, but even you must have realized it's off limits. Particularly for your mortal friend.
You know what happened there. I think right off the bat, we go swinging.
But you know what happened there. That's where Calliope was attacked.
Yet it's not where she died, Grace. Is it?
So because she made it all the way to my apartment, we shouldn't care why she was bleeding to death along the way.
You think our judgment was rash? It was. In truth, I worried that giving you time, letting us all get to know you, would make it harder in the end. I am sorry, Grace. You may not believe it, but I care deeply. I care about what happens to you and to all the idols.
Man, you don't care at all is not how I'm interpreting the situation. But it is the punk rock option. Because I do think she cares. I think she genuinely cares. And I think that she cares in the most controlling version of it. Like a version of the word. No.
You care.
Back her into a
about
corner.
me? That's a laugh. You sit up here in your tower and whatever humanity you might have once had, whatever wisdom, it's eroded away to nothing. The only thing you care about is making sure it doesn't all shatter. Not on your watch.
Zeus was the first to leave. King of the gods. And we don't even know what became of him. Vanished into the ether. Poseidon was next. Walked out into the seas, never to be heard from again. Ares betrayed us. Hephaestus saved us. Hades was murdered. And by one of our own. The list goes on.
So you add to it?
So you add to it. I show up and you kill me off because you can't be too careful.
We are dying, Grace. I don't mean diminishing or drifting apart. I mean, our immortality is disappearing. Very soon now, the idols will be no more. We are a legacy that spans millennia, dating back to the very dawn of humankind. So yes, I care. I will do anything and everything in my power to avoid that fate, even if it appears unfair.
Oh, we got clever options now.
You know, it's too bad. I've been an idol for 5 minutes, and I've been out there solving problems you've all wrestled with for how long now? I could have helped you, Athena. I could have helped all of you. But you don't see that, do you? You're so busy holding on to what you have. You can't see what you're throwing away.
If Athena's not the villain, I'm going to be
I know we've
genuinely
put a great
surprised.
deal on your shoulders, Grace. I do. All I called you here to ask is that you please not make my job more difficult than it already is. If you have any other questions or concerns, now's the time to bring them up.
All of these are good questions. I don't know where to start. Tell me
What
about
do you
Pan.
know of Pan?
Pan? That's not a name I expected to hear. Been sniffing around you, has he?
I have some suspicions, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Pan lurks at the edges because he likes it there, seeking out whatever profit he thinks he can get away with. Avoid him, dear, or he'll stick to you like gum to the bottom of your shoe.
Okay, so you don't like Pan much. I get that. But do you think he could kill someone?
We've all killed, my dear. I was once a warrior queen, feared by mortals and gods alike.
Another idol, I mean.
Is that where your investigation has led you? To Pan?
Nah, I'm missing something.
Sort of. But I feel like I'm missing something important. Maybe the goddess of wisdom could help me out?
It would be helpful to know what Calliope was doing at the reliquary, but she's not available to ask. Not until you regain her memories, at least.
Why not put off the trial until then? Seems like a good way to solve all this. Yeah?
And trust what you decide to share? I think not.
All right, let's talk about Medusa.
Met her, have you?
Can you uncurse her?
Is it true you can't remove her curse? Or is she just too useful?
I wish I could remove the curse. I'm afraid the Athena who bestowed it is long gone. She was prideful, that Athena. As prideful as she was powerful, I'm ashamed to say.
The current Athena is responsible for everything she's done.
I am well aware, Grace. What is it that you would have me do exactly?
Stop using
How about
her.
you stop treating her like a servant? Maybe send her somewhere she won't be tempted all the time.
Oh, well, if you happen to hear of a diet camp for man-eating monsters, by all means, do let me know. Now, if there isn't anything else?
Who has access to the reliquary? Is it anyone with a key, or...
Doesn't matter. You gained access, so clearly it is not difficult to get. Speaking of which, I don't suppose you'll tell me who gave you that key.
I like this answer, but I'm gonna go with you're kidding, right?
gave it to me? Athena, I had that key all along.
You what?
It's just like you thought. I used it to attack Calliope that night. Then I brought her back home to finish her off.
All right, not the direction I thought I was
With
going.
the plan, baby. Stole my way into godhood. Watch me roar.
That's not funny, Grace.
What's funny is that you thought I'd tell you without getting anything in return. Speaking of the reliquary, you went there, right? Once Hecate told you what happened?
Yeah, I was not impressed by the delay.
If you had known about that, the night Calliope died, would it have made a difference?
The chances are exceedingly small that you attacked her there, it's true, yet Calliope was weakened, which made her more vulnerable prey for an enterprising mortal, one she knew. Perhaps the incidents are connected, perhaps not. I cannot afford the risk of uncertainty, Grace. I'm sorry.
I guess I'll get back to my investigation.
I am rooting for you, Grace. If there's another way to resolve this, any way at all, I will take it.
Will you? Really?
Good luck. Feel free to take a cookie on your way out.
Okay, then.
Don't take it personally, Grace. Athena's first instinct is to follow the rules whenever things get rough. As if she believes that if the idols don't blindly follow every rule to the letter, we'll dissolve into utter chaos.
Well, is she right?
Probably.
Do you think she's telling the truth? About the idols dying out?
I'm not sure. If it is true, why hasn't she told the rest of the chorus?
It sounds like she doesn't trust you.
Well, the feeling is mutual. At any rate, I'm afraid we're going to have to disappoint her again.
Uh-oh. What now?
You need to go back to the reliquary, Grace.
You know, Athena said something to me. That it'd be nice to know what Calliope was doing there in the first place.
And she's correct.
It's the only piece of the puzzle we're missing. Calliope went there because she had a plan. But what plan?
If she left clues behind, wouldn't Hecate have found them already?
That's a really good question.
We can't ask Calliope what her plan was. But you might be able to remember what she was doing there.
Her memories? But I thought...
That it will take years, yes. But if you go somewhere important to Calliope, or touch something special to her, you'll get flashes, feelings.
Do you want Grace to go to the reliquary so she can have deja vu?
I'm willing to wager the place Calliope met her fate has left its mark in Grace's psyche. We have only to uncover it.
Well, that sounds awfully convenient.
Last time Freddy and I were there, Hecate wouldn't let us into the reliquary. Not without Athena's permission.
I'm certainly not suggesting we ask Athena for permission.
Then you mean...
A week ago, I would have said breaking into the reliquary was impossible. Yet it appears Hecate can be surprised. If her book says she will be.
Let's hope the book says that again, I guess.
Unless you've some other plan. I'm all ears, as they say.
It has
What about the alarms? I'm not eager to have Asterion chasing me through the fog.
Calliope snuck in without setting off any alarms. At least at first.
Well, I'll be following in Calliope's footsteps, won't I? What if I follow the wrong footstep and set them off?
Then they discover you and we apologize profusely.
Will not be a good look, though, just saying.
You sure this will
Are you
work?
sure about this? You want me to wander around hoping something comes to me?
I do know something about how memories work after the transition, but no, I'm not certain. You want certainty? Wait until your trial. Without discovering more, the outcome of that is certain.
What if Medusa is lying? What about Pan? We could look into him some more, couldn't we?
Oh, my, you're just full of ideas, aren't you? Do you have any suggestions regarding how we might go about doing that?
You be nice to my girlfriend.
Deja vu it is.
Let's say I do this. What am I hoping to find?
Some memory of who attacked Calliope, or why she was there. Anything we could work with. I've spoken to almost all the idols, and every single one says they hadn't seen or heard from her. If she was keeping to herself, then why now? What started this? We're missing something important, Grace.
What if Grace goes there and the memory she sees is that she attacked Calliope? A Grace from the future. It'd be a twist.
Is there really no other way?
We
It
just don't
seems a bit
acknowledge that.
Desperate.
That's because we are desperate, Grace. Either we take this shot at learning the truth, or we overthrow Athena and the chorus by force, and disregard this stupid trial.
She's joking, right? She's joking, right?
Okay, let's do this.
Right then. Back to the reliquary it is.
Any idea how you want to do this, Grace? Because I'm game to help.
Cool. I'm sure we can figure something out.
I can't go in with you. Hecate would sense me right away. I will, however, stay close by. Now that doesn't mean you should take stupid risks. Don't be a fool, Grace.
I'm gonna take so many risks. Too late.
We're already way beyond that, aren't we?
Come on, the time for adventure is now.
Ah, this will not end well. I know it.
All right, we are gonna stop here. We have to be close to the end, right? I know the game's not terribly long, and it feels like we're approaching the final stretch. So maybe next episode's the last episode. I don't know. All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. See you next time. Bye.